Welcome back, folks, to another episode of the Lone Wolf Howlcast. This is going to be a brief interlude as a follow-up on the 2020, air quotes here, folks, 2020 Olympics. Tiral, I thought it was 2021.
Oh, we have a lot of explaining to do.
Lucy, we have a lot of splaining to do. Oh, wait, is that culturally cool these days? You know what? I don't give a crap, Tiral.
That's right.
Our biggest point of contention on the last Howlcast was Laurel Hubbard being allowed to compete in the women's division.
Yeah, we thought she was going to wreck everybody. And it turns out a 43-year-old woman on...
A 43-year-old guy. Tiral, come on.
Listen, she's a woman. She transitioned.
Yeah. So a 43-year-old guy joined the women's division, and what happened, Tiral?
She couldn't make one lift.
Yeah. Laurel Hubbard, the go-to bet your money now, guaranteed to win.
Free money.
Free money from heaven, washed out.
Not a single.
Failed.
Yeah.
All lifts.
Yeah, not a single one. And then she retires immediately.
Probably because my guess would be that's insanely embarrassing.
She said that her age caught up with her and that...
Well, I can attest to that. Let me tell you. Being of a certain age and working out for a very long time, dude, back, shoulders, knees, and toes, like the nursery rhymes song goes, yeah. Heavy lifting catches up with you over time. As a matter of fact, I'm going to name drop somebody here. I doubt he'll ever hear this, but Firefly can probably attest to some of that too, I would think.
He's on...
Yeah, he's also on crazy compounds.
Yeah, that's a different...
From German engineered stuff to turn him into a super soldier.
He's going to pay for all that sooner than later. But yeah, I think she was a token. I don't know how she qualified.
Well, Laurel Hubbard was able to lift competently in world title matches and just whatever the regional contests are called and so on and so forth. So there's you can look it up easily on Google, folks, but we'll definitely put some links in the comments. There's a lifting history there. It's not like this was a nobody who showed up.
We expected her to wreck everything, and she couldn't do one single lift.
Yeah, washed out, failed all three.
She was not exactly beloved by the competitors. Like when a reporter asked the three winners of the gold medal, gold, silver, and bronze, to comment on, what does it mean that Laurel Hubbard was a weightlifter? There was 9 seconds of silence before the American, the TV training for the American came on, and she goes, no comment.
Yep.
Like, no thanks. Like, nobody was happy she was competing.
Right, of course, because you're letting a guy into the women's division, and as we discussed the last time, the fix to that is just create a new division to level the playing field. Tiral, I actually spoke to somebody about that idea outside of this.
Yeah.
You and I are a rarity, my friend. I've admitted it before, but I'll say it again. I definitely tend to the right of center. Okay. And I think you might be a little more left of center than me. Yeah. But I spoke to somebody that I thought was a rational, competent, logical person about the idea of let's just create a new division, level the playing field. That went over like a lead balloon. It was like a horrible idea.
And what was the reasons given?
None. It was just all emotional response. There was no factual response of because this, that, and the other thing. Yeah. It was just, that's a bad idea. That's the one thing I think we need to filter out. And tonight's going to be quick, folks. Yeah. We're just following up because it's been almost 2 weeks of Olympics. So there's been plenty going on.
Also, it's hilarious how wrong we were.
Holy crap, Tiral. Right? Everybody hates the Olympics. I'm Tiral, and I hate the Olympics.
I do.
Meanwhile, some Chinese diver proposes to his girlfriend that just won the gold.
That was pretty sweet.
All right? And then there's that. You're not allowed to say that, Tiral. You hate the Olympics. And then...
it was romantic. It was nice.
It was great. Who's going to top that? Ever. And then, on top of that, I think there was, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was 2 pole vaulters. There might have been high jumpers that had gone through multiple heats or attempts, and they had tied. And the IOC wanted them to keep going to see who the winner would be. And finally they were like, why can't we just share the win? Let's just share it. And in some faith in humanity restored, the Olympics allowed it.
Yeah.
They both got gold.
There's been a few nice stories, but it's just hilarious how wrong we were. Also, Just back to the Laurel Hubbard thing, like the Russians like were straight up like slurring her on their TV network.
I didn't get to see any of that.
Yeah, they were straight
Did you crack your Netflix? Is that how you got to see that? You got a VPN going on so you can catch the other networks?
I can't
You can neither confirm nor deny.
Like any. We're not sponsored by any VPN.
Yeah, that's true. NordVPN has nothing to do with us. CyberGhost has nothing to do with us.
Right.
Maybe one of these days, if they hear this. Also, fair warning, folks. It's very late where we are.
Listen, if we got raid, like if we got the raid, like what's the name?
What is that? Raid Shadow
Legends.
Something? Raid Shadow Legends out of FlashGitz hosts them.
Like if we got that money, would we take it? I don't know, man.
I would take that in a
Raid
heartbeat.
Shadow Legends. We'd have to bullshit.
FlashGitz is so superior that Raid Shadow Legends doesn't even tell them how to do their commercial. FlashGitz animates their own commercial for the game.
Yeah, but FlashGitz might stop doing things because of GW. But we're not talking about Warhammer. We're talking to
Oh, wait a minute! I thought there was an ultimatum, wasn't there?
We're not talking about Warhammer.
There was an ultimatum though. Something comments are more Warhammer.
Yeah.
Something comments.
No one commented, so we should. Next episode's going to be Warhammer. But,
yeah, I guess this is one we're trying to keep quick for you folks tonight because Olympics, 2 weeks worth of Olympics. The big deal for us last time was that Laurel Hubbard was allowed to compete in the women's division.
And we're just talking about trans athletes in general.
I think, but isn't Laurel Hubbard the only one in the Olympics, right?
She's the first and only.
First and only. And then after this performance, maybe the last?
No, there will be more. There'll definitely be more, and solutions will have to be found. Like you saw the 9 seconds of silence when all three girls who won could have just been like, "Oh, it was really." They could have said
support strong woman.
Yeah, they could have had some
President
bullshit.
Strong Woman is great.
If you watch the video, even with their masks on, you see like that heat from all three women's eyes, and you're like, "Oh my god!" Like
so that also brings to light the fact that we're going to get so much heat for this, Tiral. You ready? But you ready for this? You ready for this knowledge?
I thought we were already wrong. How much more heat?
There's biological differences between men and women.
That's not exactly a controversial.
Yes, it is. That is insanely controversial if you go to the left.
No,
if you go to the left,
if you go to the hard, crazy left, yeah, but I mean,
men and women, WAMYN, by the way, are exactly the same. There are no differences.
No,
so,
but I'm now coming around to the idea that maybe she was a token, and like the IOC just wanted a PR win for
But I actually looked up Laurel Hubbard's records, and he was competitive.
There was not a single. He couldn't do a single snap.
Not in the Olympics. But also, the Olympics is also top tier.
Yeah, that's
the pinnacle. There's nothing.
Yeah, that's true. There's no other. Yeah,
there's nothing that comes after the Olympics for competitive.
I don't know, man. I feel. I mean, I just want to get out of the way. Like, there was a lot of heat that she took. There's a whole country, like the Russian coverage was really negative. Her fellow competitors were absolutely not supportive.
Russia. For the record, folks, Russia I think has laws on the books that are anti-LGB, whatever.
Anti-everything.
Which I will also go, despite what you all may think of me, I will go on the record and say is very not cool.
Yeah. No, they're heavy everything. We didn't get any controversy for the Chinese relay team.
What happened with the Chinese relay team? There was controversy over the U.S. relay team, right? Because one of the runners, I can't remember her name right now, and that's on me, but I'll post it in the comments. One of the runners was out of position, but apparently she was told by one of the referees that's where she was supposed to stand, and they got reinstated into the relay.
Yeah, that's not her fault.
What's the yeah, no, it definitely wasn't the runner's fault. What's the thing you're referencing?
Remember, like, when the entire country of China and everybody else with two eyes was looking at two of the girls and being like, that's not a girl.
Oh, you mean those runner guys on the women's relay team?
With the man voices and the man heads?
And the chiseled superhero jaws that were straight out of Invincible?
Like, we haven't heard anything. Actually, like, feels like, and this might be outside of the scope of this little episode, but China is coming out looking really bad multiple times.
They are winning the medals, though.
They're winning.
Well, they're winning in the gold. Like, that's what everybody cares about, right? Is the gold. They're not winning overall. The U.S. is winning overall, but if it's...
No, I thought the EU, I thought was...
last check I had, which was earlier today, so your info might be newer, but earlier today, U.S. was winning overall, but for golds only, China is winning.
Well, it's not. I'm not talking about the competition itself. I'm talking about like some of the geopolitics involved in the Olympics, and how because the Chinese didn't want to hear the Taiwan national anthem, they actually canceled their own national anthem like showcase during the opening ceremony. Like that happened. Then like every time the Taiwanese won and the Chinese didn't, it was just like this big, you know.
Speaking of which, I have to ask you something, Terrell, because you have a lot more like geopolitical knowledge than I do. In the Olympics, Taipei is labeled as Chinese Taipei.
Right.
But Hong Kong is represented as itself.
For now.
I think Taiwan is represented as itself.
For now. That's going to be...
until the tanks roll in.
I mean, the Hong Kong one is probably going to be gone soon. Like, this might be the last time.
You think?
Yeah.
I thought Hong Kong was resisting against the occupation.
The occupation is winning. The Chinese occupation forces are really winning. So that you know, once the young people who are driving the protests are like scurrying away from the country,
or locked up, or disappeared,
or disappeared. A lot of disappearings.
Yeah.
So I think Hong Kong is probably going to be gone. It's the Taiwan that's the big thing. Every time Taiwan came up, the Chinese TV people just went nuts and just like making themselves look bad. Like, you know, like you acting out and just you make yourself look bad because everyone's looking at you like, why are you making such a big deal?
Right.
And that's one of those takeaways. You know what's another takeaway this Olympic realizing is besides gymnastics, track and field, and swimming, almost all these other sports in the Summer Olympics is just extremely inconsequential. Like the viewership is dead low. Like just
so there's one thing I discovered is apparently I'm calling it the Olympics Party Channel. There's I don't know, whatever provider you have, it'll be a different channel, but it's called the Olympics Channel, and literally they show some really sick CGI 90s graphics, play some music, and then give you a 5-minute update or highlights of a particular not mainstream sport.
Yeah.
And then they do it again and go to the next one. It reminds me a lot of like G4 TV. And frankly, that's how I've been watching the Olympics, is through this party channel. Like right now, we have, I think it's Bulgaria versus Kazakhstan. I don't know what KZ stands for.
No, I think
wrestling each other.
Kazakhstan sounds right.
And it looks like Bulgaria is winning by a hair. This is a good match, by the way.
It feels like they keep adding these new sports. I think there's a real problem with all the sports that they've added and the ways that they've been trying to modernize the Olympics.
Wasn't there like 5 new sports? There was street skateboarding, 3-on-3 basketball, surfing, BMX freestyle, but like doing it in like a skate park.
Yeah.
There's another one that I've just completely brain farted on.
I feel like, you know, maybe it's our age showing, but like no one's taking these sports seriously. Like there's
the skateboarding was cool, but the BMX freestyle was meh.
The skateboarding was really fun to watch.
But then there was like 3 minors.
Yeah, no, and that's another weird like trend we're seeing, like just young teenagers winning so many different sports. And
tweens, even. Tweens. I think the bronze. I might be wrong on this, folks. I apologize. I'll correct it in the comments. But I believe it was a Japanese girl that was 12 years old that won the bronze.
Yeah,
and then it was a 15-year-old Asian British girl that won the gold.
Yeah.
Like so everybody was under 18.
Everybody was way under 15. And like
the gold, I think she was 15.
She was 15.
And then silver and bronze were way under. It was like 13 and 12 or something like that. Not only that, we just saw something tonight where I think it was a diver that was 10?
Yeah.
Like a 10-year-old diving competitor?
I think like when you have things like that happen, people don't take the sport seriously.
Yeah, it should be adults, like 18 and older.
Yeah,
to compete.
The gymnastics has a long history of like 14, 15.
I mean, China, 16. Their girls, they were like, oh, this so and so is 24, and she looks like she's 11.
Yeah, like,
you know.
I mean, even if you count for Asian genetics, that's not.
Asian genetics is strong.
Yeah,
but still.
I kind of feel like this is detrimental to people taking any of these sports serious. Because, again, the skateboarding was fun to watch, but at no time was I thinking this was a sport.
Yeah, at no point was I like, wow, this is world-class competition.
Yeah, this is X Games. I would watch X Games. But
I'd watch X Games. Or even Red Bull, whatever.
Oh, it's going to be really interesting seeing, like, the final TV ratings come out.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see, like, what people watch and what people didn't. Running is always going to be, considered a real sport. Gymnastics has a long multi-decade.
Sure, swimming, obviously.
It's
gymnastics and swimming are probably like neck and neck for first place.
Yeah.
In fan appeal.
Right. And then running, some countries like Jamaica, running is the number one, but running is number 3 to those two.
Hey, did you notice Usain Bolt isn't around this year?
Yeah, he's retired.
Man, I'd come back out of retirement and take a Wheaties deal just to be like 10 blanks ahead of the next guy.
Yeah, I mean, I bet you if he just wasn't serious and ran, he would still make it to the final.
I mean, dude, in 2016, his gold medal shot is him looking at the camera and smiling as he's crossing.
Yeah, and it's a new record.
And pointing. He's pointing and smiling at the camera.
Yeah, like at the new record. Like, so
there's I hope I don't screw this up. I think it's a guy from the Netherlands is the guy who's like wrecking records this time around. Like he beat his own world record from Rio, and he beat it by like 2.5 seconds. Now, for those of you that may not be familiar, a world record is already an insane time. Yeah. And to turn around and beat your own by what is a margin, when things are measured at the 100th of a second to determine if you win or lose, and you beat it by 2.5 seconds, that's a serious accomplishment. That was pretty cool watching that the other night.
You know what, X Games sport, I really felt like this is serious and this was a real sport? Rock climbing. Seeing those people spider up,
spider monkey just straight up that wall, right? Like gravity didn't matter.
Yeah, that was like human, like on a human level. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, how do you do that? How do you do it that fast?
Yeah, like that is a real sport. There is no question.
I think their guy on the belaying rope might have been cheating, maybe, but that's pure speculation on LoneWolf's part. But they clearly they're accomplished athletes. And the fact that they were able to go up the wall that fast was just freaky. It was almost uncanny valley.
Yeah, like it didn't look right. Here's my take. Too many of these sports are judge sports. Like you have judges giving points out. Where something like the rock climbing, whoever gets to the top gets to the top. Like it's not.
In case you're not aware, they have to climb to the top, and there's a button that they have to hit that stops the clock. So whoever has the faster time wins.
Yeah.
So
so. You see so many of these newer sports are judged. So we were just making fun of karate because karate split into two. One is like contact point system. The other one is kata.
And it was just for the record, it's kata, which is the forms, which is individual, and there's kumite, which was the point based, laughably called combat, air quotes.
And you're looking at the kata one, you're like, this is a sport? Like what?
Yeah, that's been competition. I mean, making it to the Olympic level, I'm surprised, but being a former martial artist myself, kata was something that you can compete in because there was the technical knowledge of what the kata was and then the intensity of the execution. Like, you'd have guys who would just whip out a couple reverse blocks and reverse punches and then scream their heads off to try and, split eardrums.
Yeah, this is not I think there's too many sports or events that are artistic judgment, and it kind of takes away, like, you can have a few, because a lot of gymnastics is notorious about the judgment, right? You can have a few, but you can't have so many to the point where you're like,
how is this judged?
Yeah, how is it, like, what's going on?
Did they fall down? No. Then there's a perfect score, right? Did they forget the moves? No.
Yeah, like, is this a real sport? Like, is this... Like, are we looking at the greatest performance of athleticism humans can do? Or are we watching something else? And too many times I feel like we're watching something else.
Right. Like, let's say, for example, the guy, I wish I could remember his name, but I'll put it in the comments, the guy that just broke his own world record. It was a 110-meter hurdle. And it was like he was flying. Like, his feet were barely touching the ground. And the dude didn't even look winded at the end. That's a display of human capability beyond the norm,
There's no controversy, there's no questions, there's no
right, whoever crosses the line wins. That's it.
There's no, like, you just watch it and you know.
Nobody trips anybody.
Yeah.
You just run.
How's the skateboarding thing?
Oddly enough, folks, we all know who Tony Hawk is, and he was not involved in any of the judging. Although he's been in the commercials. Everybody's seen the Subway commercials. I think he's been in an Olympics commercial once or twice.
You think he cost too much money? I think he costed too much money.
Dude, he hasn't had a video game in, 20 years?
No, I mean, he's made money other ways. He probably cost too much money for the Olympics.
I don't know. They got Toyota and Honda on speed dial.
Yes. I just feel like there's too many of these non-sports sports. And you're talking to a guy who's like, ping pong is a sport. Ping pong is an Olympic sport. You know, that's for realsies.
Well, that ping pong involves reaction time, I think, more than anything. And not only that, is the table 6 or 8 feet?
I forget, but
right, so you got to get a half an ounce ball that you and I, untrained, could probably field goal into the neighbor's yard with ease.
Yeah.
And you have to keep that on the table, and you have to maintain a velocity, and you also have to hit it hard enough and increase the velocity so that your opponent can't react in time.
And give it spin.
And put spin on it like a pro MLB pitcher.
That's a sport.
That's insane.
Okay, so I remember when LA had the last Olympics that happened in LA, someone was explaining to me that softball became an Olympic sport at that time because LA was America, and like you put in sports that the host country can get some W's in. That's just one of those, just so the host country can feel
I have
good.
to interrupt you real quick. I also strongly disagree that baseball is an Olympic sport. Even basketball, but go ahead, continue your train of thought.
So there is this, bargaining. Whenever a host country comes in, they put in a sport, quote unquote, that like, all right, here we need the home country to win something.
Yeah.
Just like charity cases. And with American political might, like, a whole bunch of sports that 0 people outside of the country play was made Olympic sports, just so the host country can get some easy W's. Because softball, like, outside of America, no one plays softball. Not even the countries that play baseball. Like, women's softball, like, what? That's not a thing. But they made it an Olympic sport.
And I don't know if you've seen, the softball team is like older women.
Yeah.
Like, not prime athletes, in their younger years.
There is no competition.
Yeah.
There's no, like, it's just an easy goal.
That handball, which is not the handball, American handball, for those of us that are listening to this, is usually you have a ball, you slap it against the wall, and your opponent has to return it. Not so, my friend.
No, but that handball, again, remember the horse trading thing I was telling you about? Mm-hmm. That got put in because when the European country got in. Because
really, the Europeans wanted that?
Yeah, the Europeans play that a lot. Actually,
I figured they would have been pushing hard for the rugby and football.
They do put, because, again, you want the easy W's for the EU.
That's true, right? You want the easy W's for the host country.
Yeah. So, but I think given enough years and enough time, you keep building up this backlog of quote-unquote sports, who, again, I'm not saying they're bad, I'm not saying they're not competitive, I'm not saying that they don't deserve someplace, but they're not like Olympics. They're not real sports. They're not Olympic sports.
Right, like it's almost like a local league just all of a sudden made it into the Olympics.
Yeah, like here's this, curling. Let's say we were having fun with curling before. No one played.
I love curling, Tiral.
Yeah, no one played curling, but once people started watching it, the whole world kind of fell in love. So there is those cases where, like, okay, we trade, some North Canada.
Like, there's some pluses and minuses. Like curling. Yeah. I love that moment of zen as soon as the shooter lets go of the rock.
Yeah, the look of concentration.
That utter, like, dump sweat brow full of sweat beads as they let go.
Trying to psychically move the rock.
Yeah, they're trying to Professor X the rock down the alley. And it's like, is it going to make it? Is it going to make it? Is it going to make it? Oh my God, it's within millimeters.
Yeah, so that's an example of a sport, quote-unquote sport. And it's a game that no one else played. It was an easy W for either Canada or Russia or one of the Norwegian countries that plays it. And then the whole world fell in love with it. Now it's a real sport because now actually everyone plays it. You have all these things like, we just got to call.
It's oversaturated. I think that's what you're leading up to, right? Is that it's just oversaturation. Like, for example, right? The current Olympics right now is on 17 different platforms.
Yeah.
It's like on my TV, I have 6 channels dedicated to Olympics on my favorites. Then there's an app. Then I think Peacock is streaming as well. And then there's other avenues to access it.
It's
overwhelming. It's oversaturation.
But the more garbage product you see, the less and less you think of the label. Like forget the Olympics on a moral level because it's disastrous morally. But if you just look at it from like an entertainment, like, okay, I don't care about morals, I just want to be entertained. Every time you introduce a garbage quote unquote sport, it gets less and less and less and less like valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Like even some of the popular things, like, do we really need that many swimming events?
Yeah, I think they invented. Actually, they did invent some events this year. I don't know if it was swimming. Did they do a mixed swimming relay? I think they did do a mixed swimming relay this year, right?
Yeah.
They also did a mixed track relay too, where it was 2 women, 2 men. They did that, and I think they did it in swimming too.
Like even in the popular events like swimming and running, track and field, the more you do that stuff, the more you devalue the entire sport. Because it just, again, it goes back to horse trading, you know, every time.
Yeah, there's a lot of dilution.
Yeah, like, that's the best word, dilution. Like, because some countries want to, you know, rack up the gold medals, and they're like, hey, we want these sports.
Dude, I got to interrupt you again. I'm sorry, Troll. I've interrupted your train of thought a bunch tonight, but luckily, I haven't seen anything about Kim Il, whatever his name is, fighting sharks underwater and winning the gold medal this year. Like in 2016, when Kim Il, whatever his name was, it was all over the Olympics as like having 30 gold medals and competing in every event.
Kim Jong-un.
The North Korean propaganda machine was on hot in 2016.
Kim Jong-il's, you know, his dad was notorious for a lot of bull.
Well, in 2016, the North Korean propaganda machine was just crunching out as much as they could to make it seem like North Korea was blowing away the competition in the Olympics, specifically by their dear leader, as he was involved in every event.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen any propaganda like that this year.
It's because I think China's taking up all the oxygen.
You think China was like, hold on there, buddy? Do you think it was like the Seth Rogen and James Franco, the disaster artist, Emmy Award, when Tommy Wiseau started walking towards the stage, and James Franco was like, hold on there, buddy, and completely stiff-armed him off the stage?
Yeah.
You think China's doing that to North Korea?
I think China... I might not be in a minority. I think a lot of Americans are souring on the Olympics, so they're just not caring.
I've enjoyed it. I personally have enjoyed it. That's the only thing that's playing in prime time in my house right now.
The Chinese really care. Americans not so much. The only time we've really seen the Americans...
By the way, folks, that was validation that Tiral is a dick and I'm not.
Totally. But, you know, but the only time we've seen anything in the Olympics cause a stir in the last 2 weeks has been when Simone Biles, she got the twisties and she bowed out of her...
Everything. Except I think she came back in the individual competition on the balance beam and got bronze. But remember, leading up to the Olympics, right? Yeah. Simone Biles.
She's the
gold. Greatest of all time. She even had the rhinestone goat on her leotard in the pre-Olympic qualifications. But you know what's cool? I'm going to sound like an ass, and I don't mean to, folks. Because Simone Biles bowed out, it gave other people the opportunity to shine. Sunisa Lee rocked it. We got to see more from the Russian team, even though they're not the Russian team.
No, it was the Brazilian team that got close. The Brazilian...
There was another team, the woman that won gold, and I'm sorry, I don't remember what country she was from. I'll look it up and put it in the comments. She wasn't Brazilian. She was...
Well, Suni beat a Brazilian, that's what I think. That's what I said.
But there was, in the all-around, or the individual, I think the gold went to, not the USA team, which has been like, you know, pretty much the custom is that USA wins.
Right.
And I can't remember what country she was from. I'll have to look it up. I'll post it in the comments. But it gave, like, other people the opportunity to just shine.
Well, I'm bringing it up because not a single thing has mattered in the Olympics for the Americans. It doesn't, and this is what I mean. Like, I might not be in the minority, except for the Simone Biles issue. And the crazy thing is, for the first time, we've had politicos and talk radio and almost an entire party root against Team America. Like, when it came to the women's soccer team, when it came to Simone Biles, like, they were...
That's because Megan Rapinoe, though, is a firebrand causing problems.
Well, I mean, that is a factor. But when you have the ex-president of the United States just talking shit about American Olympic athletes and wishing and praying that they keep losing, and you have all these like political people talking about being against Team America.
Wait,
like,
Trump was anti-Team America?
yeah.
Really? That's out of character.
I mean, not really.
You figured everything he's been like has been like, oh, America's great.
No,
the American team is going to win everything, folks. You just watch, you'll see.
Not this Olympics.
Yeah, but that'd normally be his line. I almost did it. I almost quoted his non-spoken words officially.
No, not this Olympics. He's like, and a lot of the hard right wingers, the Steven Crowders, the Ben Shapiro's, all those guys, they're heavily anti-Team America. So it's a very odd time and place to be an American where you look around and you're like, just me and you talk about like why are Olympics good, and we argue, but one of the main things is sports is like a little bit of getting away from politics, a little bit of getting people together, getting the world together, having sportsmanship. What was the first 3 things we said that we liked about the Olympics this time? The marriage proposal, the 2 high jumpers sharing a gold. Like those are really heartwarming things.
Yeah. And
like in the middle of that, like you have the deep, like people just can't get over the politicization of everything. Everything is culture war. And it's very, very, very disturbing. Like I think me and you saw the Laurel Hubbard controversy, the trans athletes controversy coming. We saw that in the distance. Mm-hmm. I didn't see this coming up. I didn't think not only an ex-president but a political party go against Team America.
That's ridiculous.
I think it says a lot about where we are and how bad the situation is.
Because one of the things I've really enjoyed about the Olympics is that it's humanizing.
Right.
There's so much camaraderie and just like good sportsmanship.
Right.
And
right.
Nobody seems to care what country you're from when you're in the middle of the event. Like, for example, literally right now, women's wrestling is on. I don't know the weight class.
But 86 kg?
Nah, they look like they're pretty light. They look like they're about 120, 130 pounds maybe.
Okay.
Which, by the way, I don't know jack about kilogram to pounds conversion. But at the end of this match, even though the American is winning, I'm sure they're going to shake hands, maybe hug, know? That's the unifying thing, is that even though they're competing against each other, they're kind of like rooting for each other.
They're all happy to be there. Let's go in a little bit about the Simone Biles situation.
One more interlude. I can't believe that race walking is an Olympic sport.
That had to be someone. If somebody wanted an easy gold, somebody had to.
Yeah, I can't. You just walk.
Yeah,
you're literally walking.
Yeah, I mean fast. I mean you're pumping your hands, but yeah.
Tiral, did you happen to walk in tonight to record?
Dude, I was preparing.
You're a freaking gold medalist.
Hey,
I just offended somebody with that, by the way, because I know somebody who's a competitive race walker, by the way.
Let's just really briefly go through what the Simone Biles situation is.
Yeah, we're going a little over right now for a quick interlude, so yeah, go ahead.
She had what's called the twisties. It's a dumb name for actual like a serious thing. Mm-hmm. It's when a gymnast, their body and their mind, the connection, they lose that connection. So when they're in the air, they don't know where they are. It's like a neurological condition that could happen because of stress. It could happen from injury. It could happen from all sorts of different things. But it's not like in her head. It's legitimate. So she was in a balance beam and she was really not doing. This is the greatest gymnast.
I think it was the vault, right? Isn't the vault the one that she messed up on the worst?
Yeah.
Where like she almost sat down and took like 3 or 4 steps off the mat. Like, yeah, it's a big disconnect between your mental awareness of where you are and where your body is moving.
It's a real thing, and there's no cure for it. There's no, like, and she and her coach...
And it's a confidence killer.
Oh, yeah. Like, you're in the air, you're spinning, and you have no idea where you are. Like, you've been doing this all your life, and now you don't know.
Yeah, all of a sudden, you have no idea where your feet are going to land.
Yeah. And so she and the USA coaching staff decided, hey... we need to bow out because I'm going to get injured. Like, that's what's going to happen. Like, she's just going to fall and hurt herself.
Yeah, break something.
Right. She's considered the greatest gymnast in history. And the last...
There's literally moves named after her.
Right.
Yeah.
the last time she won gold with 2 broken toes, like a broken toe on each leg. Like, so
toes tend to be on feet, Terrell.
I'm
just
sorry.
so you know.
Yeah, right.
I'm leaving that in, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know what I meant. Like, I wanted like both legs were. She was doing gymnastics on 2 messed up legs, and she still won gold. Like, this, the level of mental toughness of this individual is through the roof. And then to have people talk shit about her, calling her weak, soft.
Yeah, that's utter bullshit.
Not tough. Like, you're there not for your mental health, but to win gold. Like, all this stuff. And I'm reading and listening to this stuff, and I'm like, people have lost their goddamn minds.
So I can give you a little personal background on that. So I used to compete in martial arts. And I gotta tell you, like, as soon as you're about to step into that ring, your adrenaline is racing, your heart rate is up, you're looking at the guy, you're like, okay, what advantages does he have over me? How can I attack this guy? And now you're in the pinnacle of sports competition, and it's televised. So I can't even, I was never televised, but you have that. She must have had that going in, like, okay, this is the competition, this is what they're capable of, my adrenaline is already racing, my heart rate is up, and now I'm on TV. Holy crap, I better not screw up.
Oh, I don't know where I am.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, oh crap, I lost the stick on my, $2 billion fighter jet, and I'm nosediving to the ground, and I can't control it.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Like, for these, and to be fair, mostly men, but, you get the Laura Ingrams and the Janine Pereiros of the world. But mostly men, pudgy men in front of mics, like...
Are you talking about incels?
I'm talking about, like, the Shapiros, like Steven Crowders, like these talking head pundits, the Tucker Carlsons, Trump. Like, just calling her un-American, calling her weak, calling her soft. This woman has delivered America.
Yeah, multiple times she's delivered.
Like
she overqualified in the Olympic qualifications.
Yeah. And
she wasn't even trying.
Right. Like, to say all these things about someone who's representing you.
That's reprehensible.
We saw the trans athletes things coming. We saw that controversy, me and you.
Yeah.
We've been talking about, doing a show about trans athletes and whatnot for a while. And then we did it right before the game started. And I didn't see this. I never thought this would be a thing. This doesn't seem real.
It's a shame that political powers in the U.S. and celebrities who hold some sway would be denigrating the U.S. Olympic team.
Right.
Let alone an individual on that team. It should be a show of unity and rah-rah, go USA.
Yeah. Or you just trust this person who's the greatest.
Who knows what she's doing, doing stuff that 90% of the people on the planet have not done, and she's done it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a gigantic oversight. The Olympic athletes are so in touch with their bodies that they just know.
Yeah. I trust her when she said that, like, I could have got hurt. Like,
yeah, when she bowed out, and there was like I think the camera was there, but Simone and her coach weren't mic'd, but you were able to hear a little bit of it, and she said something about, like, I thought I was going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, okay, well, she knows.
Right.
Because none of us can do what the hell she's doing.
Yeah, I would trust her.
Yeah, I would trust her. I would trust her reasoning on why she bowed out.
Now, here's the thing, right? Is this a temporary blip? Is this shameful thing just, like, temporary? Or is America so messed up that this is how it's going to be?
America's so messed up.
Like,
we're so polarized right now.
Yeah.
And getting worse. It's not getting better, it's getting worse.
Yeah. I hope you're wrong, and I hope I'm right. I hope this is just an aberration. But, man, if every Olympics gets politicized every time, like... you and I both disagreed on the Laurel Hubbard thing. We thought that was more like a tokenism, or something that shouldn't have happened. But political says, like, oh, she's a woman. I'm like, that's not true. Like, not exactly.
So there's biological differences in effect.
So here we have this one extreme left concept that is causing controversy.
Yeah, men and women are exactly the same. There's no differences.
And now we have on this hard right wing side, where it's like, oh, we don't support Team America, like, or we don't support every American athlete, or everyone who's, trying to give us a gold and represent us, like.
Which is so damn weird, because the far left are the ones who like you racist if you hang the American flag on your house, and like the far right was like have 5 different American flags,
Yeah.
1 which is the American flag, 4 which are not recognized flags at all, hanging on your house.
Like a blue stripe one, a Trump
a red
one.
stripe. I've seen green and red and black and white all in one color. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know what the green. I think I think it's the.
Well, the blue is support the police. Red is firefighters.
What's green? What's the green for?
I don't know. It's black and white with 1 red band and 1 green band on the same damn flag. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's
like I don't know if a green like blue is police because of blue uniforms. Red is firefighters. Green maybe military.
It's absolutely bonkers.
It's completely nuts. It's completely nuts that people are still riding around in their pickups with Trump 2020 flags.
Where we live, every Sunday.
There's still rallies.
Yeah. Like there's been. I mean,
okay. Let's face. You know what the next Olympic sport is, Tiral? Impeachment champion.
Oh God.
Trump is the impeachment champion. 2 impeachments, and he wasn't.
Yeah, I mean,
that's ludicrous.
Yeah, it's. I just the whole Simone Biles and the U.S. Female soccer team. Those things have really made me rethink how bad people.
Well, Megan Rapinoe hasn't been helping the U.S. women's soccer team either with her very outspoken opinions.
Yeah, but you still don't wish the team to lose.
Right. I still want the team to win. Pro USA.
Yeah.
Every time an American comes on.
Not you as in you. I mean, like general. Like you still like you can have differences, and you can may not like the individuals.
But she's part of a team that I want to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a very bizarre time we're in.
Guess what, Terrell? We're hitting that limit, and nobody has commented. So, let me tell you about this book. It's in the Warhammer 40k universe.
That's next episode. We got to stop.
Oh, okay, we'll do it next episode. Warhammer 40k book review next episode. Thanks again for joining us. Please continue the conversation. Please continue the damn conversation in the comments. And as always, please like and subscribe.
Go Team USA.